First of all, thanks for clicking on my video, and I am sure you're having a great day. So in this video, I'll go through one of my client's project and will try to explain my work system. And you'll see my design thinking, decision making while converting this old website and give it a fresh new look. Hi, this is AB Abid. Welcome to my channel Design Thinking. Let's get into it. Before I start any project, I set up a meeting with the client and just talk. And based on that, I prepare this brief description of the project. I call it Design Brief. There is a lot to discuss in Design Brief, so let's go through this one by one. First, this is the project overview. In this case, the client is a software company and already has a website. But now they need a website with a more modern look, but also a fast loading site. They already picked a premium WordPress theme for their website. So all I have to do is customize this WordPress theme to make it their own. Well, at this point, you might be thinking, why do they need a web designer to customize a pre-designed WordPress theme? What work do I need to do here? It's already done, isn't it? Well, the answer to that question is no, it's not done in any way. Yes, the WordPress theme has lots of pre-designed elements, but using those elements in a proper flow to make it more engaging and highly converting site that suits your business format is the challenge here. Let me clarify one thing, that I'm not going to show you A to Z customization of the site, but only if you're interested to watch it. Let me know in the comment section and I will make that video too. Then note down the services that you're going to provide them. Your wording should be easy to understand and cover every point possible, because I'm going to share this brief with my client so they get a clear idea about the project and have a chance to give some feedback if needed before I start the project. As I'm customizing a WordPress theme, so this is more obvious. Then I have to determine the flow of the website. This is mainly a single page site, so naturally first the hero section, then about the company, the service, the solution, testimonial. This company has a training institute, so I have to highlight that too. Then finally CTA, the call to action section, and with a proper footer section. Before I finalize this flow, I discussed with the client, so just to ensure if they have any other opinion on it. I did describe my initial thoughts behind this so that they have full understanding of my thinking process. Then I started to make an elaborate breakdown of the section. What kind of elements do I need in which section I only need in desktop view, which one I only need in mobile view, and try to cover every single point for each element. Then, based on that breakdown, I finalized the menu items. After that, I try to assess the current situation. As you can see, this is a very outdated layout and it has lots of images. So if the images are not properly optimized, it may cause slow loading of the site. Contents are not well constructed and not SEO optimized either. Finally, it's a simple site, let's say. In the design brief, you also have to include the pricing of the project, where you have to break down the project cost and always ask for an advance. I learned it in a hard way that you never ever start a project without an advance. Finally, in case of larger project, you might have to share the project timeline also, so that your client can track your project as per estimated time and make the payment according to that time. Now let's have a look at the design system of the project, as I'm working on a theme customization, so this is not a proper design system. I'll make a video on a design system later on, so I hope you'll subscribe and stay with my channel. So here I'm just using the default font family as per client's requirement. I have organized the font hierarchy as per the default values of the theme. All I did here, I worked on the color palette and tried to match the company's branding. And I have a piece of advice here: always ask for the raw file of the logo, at least for the SVG file. As I designed this logo a long time ago, so I have the SVG file with me. Now let's look at the Zircona theme, which is made by a company called Web Design Lab, and this is my modified version of the theme. So let's go through this section by section and try to understand what I did here. Let's start with the header section, the navigation menu. Well, I thought it would look great if I used the glass effect for navigation menu background in here. The theme didn't have that option for this, so I have to add a few custom CSS lines to make this custom style. This whole theme is built using the Elementor Page Builder. If you know a little bit about the WordPress, then you might have heard about the Page Builder. It's actually very popular nowadays, but most of the cases I do prefer Gutenberg Page Builder, which is the default page builder in WordPress. Now, let's come to the particular hero section in here. They used a plugin called Slider Revolution for hero section, and the client really liked the design. So what I did here is I changed the text, obviously, and convert every single element from PNG to SVG format. In that way, the section becomes much more lightweight. SVG is not supported by WordPress by default yet, so I have to use a plugin for that. When I click on this button, it will open another tab and bring this page with a form in it. This form is made by another WordPress plugin called Contact Form 7. Well, I'll come back to this illustration later on. Here's the default design just below the hero section. I made this section smaller in my version with just the heading. Again, these are all SVG. I made this section into the About Us section, but I didn't like the illustration that much in here, so I changed it. I picked all the illustrations used in this redesign from Storyset.com. These are all free to use, by the way, for any of your project, but you do need to add attribution for this, which I did in the end. I'll get back to that in a minute. This counter is only visible on desktop view but not in mobile view because it takes up too much space between the text and the button, which may increase the bounce rate. So Elementor free version has this flexibility to restrict certain elements' visibility for certain devices. For the mobile view, I placed the counter right here. By the way, you can easily inspect and see multiple devices view right from your desktop browser. This service section is the same as here too. But with very significant changes like illustrations and obviously the content. After that, I have changed everything and stick with the flow that we fixed beforehand. So here I added the software solutions section. I picked the illustrations from the story set as I mentioned before. These elements are designed by the theme developers, maybe for something else, but I really liked it here. Then I used this workflow, which is basically this one, but I changed the icon. I found this icon from flaticon.com and I used this with proper disclaimer. I decided to keep the testimonial design but with my own customization. As you can see, I used illustrations instead of pictures so that it can maintain the playful mood of the site. All shapes and elements were initially PNG, but it's now SVG, including the illustrations. Well, for the courses, I again used an element designed by the theme developer. I really liked this 3D effect when I hover on it. And I added an enrollment button here, which will go to the page to request an enrollment. Then I used the theme section element for showcasing the trainers. All these images are not in JPG format. In a recent update of the WordPress, it supports WebP by default. It is a very lightweight format and can contain both transparent and non-transparent image data. This format was developed by Google and now has been widely used because it can make your site lighter without losing the quality. This theme didn't have any call to action element per se, so I made this with Elementor Builder and a little bit of CSS. It's just a simple converting sentence with a button in it. And finally, I also didn't like the default footer section, so I redesigned the footer section from zero. It has much more information now about the location with proper Google map, office hour, and of course there is the social media icon. And below the map you can see the link of the privacy policy page and disclaimer page, where I put all the disclaimers of the site illustrations and icons. As I have used only SVG elements and WebP formatted images, the loading time of this site is really fast. I have matched the branding color to give it a new feel, nothing like the default design, and put lots of custom CSS to add a little bit of styling to it and a fresh look. I also worked on the content to make it more engaging and converting with proper SEO. and a first loading good looking site can give you a lots of client in the process, as we call it a high converting site. So that's it. If you want to see the full customization tutorial on this, please let me know in the comment section. In the next video, you'll see how to make a parallax effect in Figma. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.